Now, moving away from talking about a political crisis, let's talk about resident doctors in Nigeria as they have announced a decision to embark on a daily peaceful protest and picketing of the Federal Ministry of Health, Office of the Head of Civil Service of the Federation, as well as all federal and state tertiary health institutions nationwide from Wednesday, the 9th of August. The doctors under the aegis of Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors, NARD, issued the notice over the weekend in a letter signed by its president, Dr. Emeka Orji, and addressed to the Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Health, to press home its demands, which is said have been neglected by the federal government.
The resident doctors listed their demands to include the immediate payment of the 2023 MRTF, the immediate release of the circular on 141 replacement, and the payment of skipping arrears. NARD said it believed that the government still had time to genuinely address the issues at stake before the 9th of August, or leave it with no other option. We're now joined by Dr. Umar Musa, who's the Publicity and Social Secretary, Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors. Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us.
Okay, good morning. Thank you for having me.
All right. We'd like you to talk to us about, these demands that NARD has made. You've given the deadline of 9th of August, which is 2 days away. So far, what's the update? Has the government said anything? And if nothing has been said so far, do you think that 2 days is enough time for all of this to be resolved, else the strike?
Yeah, to start with, the government has responded to this time, as I see. And I would also like to say that these issues can be resolved within even hours, not to talk of 2 days. 2 days is too much to resolve some of our issues. And these issues, as all have been mentioning them, times as number. And these issues include.
Well, unfortunately, we're having connection issues with you. Would you please maybe disconnect your AirPods from the device and just use the device audio? I think that would totally help. So just disconnect it. Right, we'll be bringing you, we're talking about the Nigerian resident doctors that have declared daily protest over unmet demands. They have asked that the federal government returns to the negotiation table and, of course, give response to some of their demands. And they've asked that the 9th of August is the deadline, after which they will go on daily protests.
I don't know I think it's one of the questions that I think that he also needs to answer, how effective daily protest would be, because, normally, they down tools and say we're no longer working. That's the way protests normally happen in Nigeria. You down tools. But if they want to do a daily protest, to the office of the Ministry of Health now, or say Head of Civil Service.
I'm sure he'll give us a clearer picture as to what exactly.
Dr. Omar, welcome back. Can you hear us clearly?
Can you hear us, Doctor? All right, seems Dr. Umar Musa might not yet be able to hear us. We're hoping that we can connect with him and have this conversation as to what exactly the demands are. Dr. Umar Musa, can you hear us now? Unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, there's also the perspective where the Nigerian government is threatening with a no work, no pay rule. And so, hopefully, hoping that will also get the resident doctors back to, the offices. But
getting the resident doctors back, or also getting the government to, in some way, meet their demands. If we look at how medical doctors are being treated in Nigeria, they haven't gotten the best of care. They haven't gotten the best of remuneration.
Yeah.
Very recently, last week, we spoke to the friend of Dr. Unfortunately, Dr. Wyrie, right, who passed. We spoke to a friend who shared the story with us, and their living conditions are terrible for people who barely have to sleep, who put their lives at risk. And this is not just for the medical association, of course. There are several other sectors, because this is the sector we're talking about this morning. We'll still talk more about this. We have the Publicity Secretary of the NARD, and we have Dr. Umar Musa, who's joined us. We're hoping that we can connect with him this time. Good morning, Dr. Umar Musa. Can you hear us now? All right. That's it. We unfortunately would not be able to connect with him, and we hope that we can maybe have him before the 9th of August, which is 2 days away. I wonder if nothing has been said yet. What changes can really be made? Anything can happen, though, between now and the 9th of August. But we've had conversations about doctors going on strike every now and then.
Yeah, but I think it's also a good point to make or to ask. Now, of course, we have new ministers, so hopefully, their portfolios will be assigned soon enough, so we'll be able to understand better what direction Nigeria is going. But the question for me really is also, can Nigeria afford to make these changes? Yes, there are demands from the NLC, there are demands from the resident doctors, there are demands from ASU every now and then. Can Nigeria afford to make these changes, an increment in salaries, increment in living wages, increment in, basically, you need to spend more money on these sectors. That's the basis for some of all these
So
things.
do we have the money?
Yes, exactly. And is Nigeria ready to then start to fund these things better?
And to actually cut the cost of governance, maybe in some sense?
I doubt. Dr. Umar, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Am I audible now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. We unfortunately, we're running out of time, so we want you to give us a clear picture of what exactly is going on. We have the 9th of August. Has the government said anything? 9th of August is in 2 days. So has the government said anything? If yes, what's it?
Okay, so far the federal government hasn't said anything yet on our demands, and we expect that today something is going to happen because this is the first working day of the week, and I think we should have a positive response from them. But as we talk, there are no tangible responses from the federal government for now.
All right, and the update we're hearing is that if there is no response, that by the 9th of August we'll go on daily protest. What would that look like?
Yeah, because we have been following them to their corridors to appeal to them to listen to our demands. And all our demands, nobody has told us that these demands are not germane. Everybody agreed that we have issues in the Nigerian healthcare system. But if these issues are not being resolved within the next 48 hours, we're going to carry on our protest as planned. And it's a peaceful protest, and then we're going to inform all the security agencies involved and go on with our protests. It's just to send home our demands to the parents' body and then to the federal government so that they listen to us and we make we resolve these issues amicably.
All right, and of course, there's a threat of no work, no pay. Is that affecting your members? Will that maybe convince you otherwise?
We have anticipated that the government would like to fight against whatever action we're going to take. So our members are determined to carry on with the fight. It's a fight for us doctors, it's a fight for the Nigerian citizens, it's a fight for the healthcare system of Nigeria.
All right. We, of course, certainly hope that the government does something and does something soon to ensure that there is an amicable settlement that can be reached. Thank you for your time with us this morning, Dr. Umar Musa.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right.